There is no pleasing the narcissist, overt or covert, no matter what. It could be physical, psychological, spiritual. There's no way for them to be happy. With my ex-wife, when she went to be with me in Chino, California, I took her out whale watching, up by the Hollywood sign, Griffith Park Observatory. We'd go out to eat, and tell her, I'm like, this is actually the place from Pulp Fiction, you know. We'd be going to the mall, Point Hills Mall, and one day when we were going out there, I said, this is where Back to the Future was filmed, the parking lot scene. She's like, what? And I was like, yeah, let me go drive right up here. I was like, you see, there's the sign, and there's where this happened, that's where that happened. And she thought that that was pretty cool. But despite all of these positive experiences, she was very mean and hostile to other people. And she would swear to me up and down that she's not always like that, that she's actually usually really happy and positive person, and I bought into it, and I thought it was my fault that she wasn't happy enough and that I had to do more and invest more. And I gave her all of myself, and I had to be able to increase how much I was able to give, you know? Um, she had a lot of friends there, and I would buy them food and sparkling grape juice that they really liked, specifically as an investment for her to be able to spend time with them and enjoy time with them. I was looking into everything, the spiritual aspect, psychological. She needed to have time with friends. And nothing really ever made her happy. So when we left California and moved to her home state, to her house in Northwest Indiana, not far from Gary, that's when she revealed to me, and we had just gotten married. That's when she told me that when she was in California with me, that was the happiest she'd ever been in her life. If I had known that, and while in California, I would have booted her out right back to Indiana. The amount of complaints, the amount of stuff, the way she treated people, it made it seem like it was my fault she wasn't happy enough. After investing everything into her, having to put friends aside and other people aside in order to focus on her happiness because I felt it was my fault. I would do something nice and good for her, and it would somehow, even though it made her happy, would be a negative thing that would somehow be my fault. It was always like this. And since I was at a bad time in my life, I could not think clearly and understand that it was her. We almost got kicked out of our apartment complex because of all the complaints that management ran into with her. Management actually had direct conflict with her multiple times. And again, it was always my fault somehow. So we get to her home in Northwest Indiana. Oh, Lake Springfield. I love this area. There's like a little island here and a little lighthouse. Oh, it's so pretty. It's so pretty. Excuse me, I apologize. What I mean was, oh, it's so pretty through here. Where was I? Oop. God, it's so pretty. Historic US 66. This exit. That would take me straight home. About 2,300 miles or something. Uh, Back to what I was saying. We get to her home in Northwest Indiana. There's a whole ordeal with that. Her house was completely destroyed by someone else who was a family member whose job was to maintain the trust and maintain the house, and he had destroyed absolutely everything. So I had to handle that stuff for her too, legally. Um, and it took hundreds of hours to handle that for her. Um, anyway, what happened there after the house was all redone and everything, I really worked hard to get things done for her physically. I got all of her teeth um, done. She only had one small cavity. She was very good at maintaining oral hygiene. And the deep cleaning took many hours. It took something like 5 hours for a deep cleaning. And she told me that she felt lighter and she no longer got headaches and all this stuff. And she was very happy for a couple of days until that vicious, conniving, vile person would come out that hated children and always found the most negative things to say about things that were just not problems. I got her rosacea handled. I got her sun allergy handled. She'd never been able to go out in the sun until she met me. And I looked into it, got it fixed. Even things with feminine products that, she said, I like this product. I'm like, well, let's try this one anyway because I researched it and I think you might like it, you know, and it changes everything for her. She's like, wow, I'm able to freely move around and everything, go out, not have to worry about anything, thing after thing after thing. There was a lot of physical issues. Then I had to get her a SPECT scan on her brain because she just wasn't acting correctly. Um, she went on supplements and then she just refused to take them. And I was putting so much into her. I bought her a car so she could get a job. She refused to get a job. She refused to go out and hang out with people. She stayed at home every day playing 10 hours or more of video games and showering. Her showers would she would do 3 to 6 hours of showering a day. She'd go to sleep between 3 and 4 a.m. from playing games and wake up between 12 p.m. and 2 p.m. And it was difficult because while she was living this luxurious lifestyle, and I was taking her out for steak and lobster dinners all the time because she owned the house. So there was no rent. Plus, rent out here is so cheap anyway. Rent out here for a home wouldn't even be $1,000. So she really enjoyed life. She just got stuff, got stuff, got stuff. And while I was living my life to serve her and constantly give her everything, she had her own basically private life. She did not want to spend a second with me. To sit down and watch a movie together is work to her. And that's having to work on our relationship, and she doesn't get paid for her work. That was her attitude. I would go out of my way to cook her a nice breakfast, and she'd start a fight and wouldn't eat the breakfast and go back to her room, and then blame me as far as it was somehow my fault that she chose to attack me and be a vicious person. It was really bad. So I learned, I'm like, okay, in order for her to be happy, I cannot be with her. We do not spend time together. There's no love in any way. Love, romance is whatever she does with herself alone. That's fine. Strict stuff. I'm not allowed to hold her hand. I'm not allowed to kiss her on the cheek. I need to ask permission too from a distance. Do that, then walk away. While this was happening, I was going out of my way to cook her the most best meals and just serve her while I'm working a job, and she's not maintaining the house. She's not doing anything. So she would wake up in the morning to the smell of fire cooked bacon from our local butcher that I'd cook outside over a fire with farm fresh eggs, actual farm fresh eggs, and homemade bread that I would turn into um, French toast. And nothing made her happy. Finally, the abuse got so bad for me when she got very angry that I had healed from some past trauma, and she said she didn't want me to be healed from it. And then she tried to reverse it. She got in black magic. She started poisoning me while I was serving her. So I was so sick all the time, missing work all the time, and unable to serve her, but she still wanted to be served. And then she always called me selfish, saying I wasn't reciprocating. And it was just very bad because my marriage with this evil, vile person was about me doing everything to take care of them like they were a child that just wanted to be spoiled, and that nothing was ever enough. She started seeing different psychologists, and she would lie. Once the psychologist would tell her it was her, and she would ditch that psychologist and just then lie to me and say she never had a meeting with them and that I don't listen and I'm such a terrible person and boo hoo hoo. She just wants to be loved and blah 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 and heard. I'm like, what a weird thing to say. That made absolutely no sense. She was always a victim. Always a victim. So finally, one day, she got a psychologist that was an old woman who just got her degree, and this woman would just agree with her on everything. She had no reviews anywhere, and so my ex-wife stuck with her, and things got worse and worse and worse. I'd spoken to many marriage counselors, and over the phone, every single one, I'm not joking, over a dozen said, "Sir, you need to divorce her because you're doing everything right and you need to break yourself free away from that." I can't believe how many relationship counselors were telling me this. Then I spoke to one of the world leading experts on narcissism within relationships. And in under a minute, I think it was, I know it was under 2 minutes, this woman said, "Sir, you're with a covert narcissist. You need to get away right now. When you file for divorce, if you tell her, she will attack you." And she was right. I did tell her, and she attacked me right away, then called the cops and said I attacked her. But my point here is you heard through my whole life with her, within that 8.5 year period, she was never happy. Nothing was ever enough. Nothing. There was no pleasing her. She would only have moments of being satisfied with the luxuries, but it was not possible for her to be happy with anything, even a relationship, a perfect relationship, um, where she got everything that she wanted and needed plus more, you know. But uh, if you are with a person and there's just no satisfying them, there's no making them happy, and during times where they should be saying thank you or be enjoying life, they're looking for the negative things. Like when you're out celebrating something, or there's just, you're on a date together having a good time and they're being negative, you're probably with someone who's too narcissistic to be able to function properly. They're too narcissistic to be able to not destroy a healthy relationship. They're not able to participate in a healthy relationship. They just suck everything out of you, take from you. They take from you physically. They take all your resources. Other things they don't take, but they will destroy if it's yours. Then they'll leave you with nothing. You you will be drained physically, mentally, like psychologically. You'll be drained spiritually, and you'll have nothing left to give in any way. You won't even be able to sleep right anymore. So just know that a narcissist is simply not capable of appreciation, and there's no way they're capable of being happy with anything unless it's satisfaction of harming others. But again, that's a whole other video.